Have you ever noticed how things just seem to fall into place the moment you stop trying to control everything? That's the starting point of a counterintuitive idea. The less we try to force things, the more life seems to cooperate. Michel de Montaigne, a 16th century thinker, picked up on this while watching people caught up in the frenzy of chasing approval, money, and status. He preferred to observe rather than cling, and he came to a simple realization. Anxiety about the outcome is what throws us off track. Think of someone trying way too hard to impress. Every word is rehearsed, every gesture calculated. It usually has the opposite effect. They come off as tense, fake. Now picture someone who walks in at ease, comfortable in their own skin. Who catches your attention first? The same pattern shows up at work, with money and relationships. When we chase something out of fear of missing out, it slips away. But the moment we stop scrambling and bring our focus back to the present, doors open where we once saw walls. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trading rigidity for presence. When we ease up on the pressure, we make room for unexpected opportunities. That's when things start to flow. Take a moment and notice how tension creeps in when you try to control every little detail of life. Montaigne wasn't promoting laziness. He was talking about letting go of attachment. When we drop the need for everything to go exactly our way, that heavy, "I need this" feeling lifts off our shoulders, along with the stress of never feeling like we're enough. Here's where a strange thing kicks in: the law of reverse effort. The harder we try to fall asleep, the more awake we feel. The more we chase confidence, the more we're reminded of our doubts. The harder we chase happiness, the more we see what's missing. Montaigne realized that fighting the current usually just drags us under. He noticed two kinds of people. On one side, those who plan every move, tighten every screw, and rarely stop to rest. They tend to feel constantly unsatisfied. On the other side, people who take a step back, see the bigger picture, and let go of the need to control every little thing. And somehow, without trying so hard, they find ease. Real strength then shows up when we loosen our grip and let life take the lead now and then. Stick with me for a few minutes and think about this. Have you ever wanted something so badly, a job, a relationship, a specific outcome, that it felt impossible to focus on anything else? In that state, everything you did screamed, "I need this." And somehow, the more you wanted it, the more it slipped away. Now take a step back and remember a time when life just flowed. No rush, no dramatic goals. You were busy living, not chasing. And suddenly, invites showed up, doors opened, the right people crossed your path. Nothing magical about it. You just weren't giving off that needy vibe. When there's no pressure, there's room for new things to come in. Michel de Montaigne figured this out centuries ago. He wasn't saying to be indifferent. He was all about lightness. Do what you can, but don't suffer over the result. Plant your seeds with care, then let the soil go and trust. The irony? That kind of relaxed detachment actually fuels things to fall into place. So next time you feel the urge to grip tighter, remember, an open hand receives more than a clenched fist. Want to find out how much influence you really have over what happens around you? Try doing the opposite of what your instincts tell you. Loosen your grip. Control doesn't come from squeezing tighter, stressing over every detail, or running through endless checklists. It shows up when you realize that everything is constantly shifting, and that what happens often reflects your internal state way more than your sense of urgency. Michel de Montaigne spent much of his life exploring this idea. He watched neighbors, travelers, soldiers. Some were constantly consumed by worries that seemed to multiply, while others moved through storms with the calm of someone just watching the waves. Montaigne noticed a common thread among the ones who struggled. They were stuck in a prison they'd built themselves. And on the door was a sign that read, "I'll only be happy when," but that "when" never really arrives. The more you chase it, the further it slips away. Think about trying to hold water in a lake. The tighter you squeeze, the more it escapes. But with an open hand, it settles. The kind of effort that actually works isn't about clenching. It's about softening. More about how you are than what you do. Here's the mistake that trips a lot of people up. Believing that without constant effort, worry, and pushing, failure is guaranteed. Montaigne saw it the other way around. When you loosen your grip, life's current actually starts pulling you in the right direction. Look at the people who've made it to the top without carrying stress on their face. They move through the day with steady steps and a calm presence. It's not that they don't care. They've just mastered the art of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means letting go of the illusion of total control. It means stopping the endless loop of what-ifs and not letting fear take the director's chair. You keep moving forward with confidence because you trust the timing of things. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing things to work out perfectly, the path starts to clear. People who get that, they level up. So what's your next move? Gripping the wheel tighter or letting the rope go and seeing where the road takes you? What changes when you loosen your grip and let life flow? Suddenly the storm clears, and you realize the whirlwind was coming from inside you. The constant tension, the mental tug of war, the need to control every little thing, all self-made. Michel de Montaigne saw this centuries ago. He watched people turn small setbacks into full-blown dramas, replaying conversations on a loop, stressing over what others might think, freaking out about a future that hasn't even happened, holding on to guilt like it's a trophy. Now imagine, better yet, consider, what it would be like to shut that whole system down. It's not about giving up on everything, but about being able to say, this isn't serving me. Take a quick inventory. How many of the worries weighing on you right now never actually happened? How many sleepless nights over scenarios that only existed in your head? Montaigne believed that most of our suffering doesn't come from what happens. It comes from resisting what happens. And when that fight ends, something new shows up. A calm, quiet kind of power. Have you ever noticed how some people push away exactly what they want? Picture the start of a relationship. Someone overanalyzes every text, keeps score of attention, tries hard to be liked, and without realizing it, they build an invisible wall. Neediness is like a red light. It signals that something's missing inside. But the moment that person relaxes, stops picking apart every gesture and starts enjoying their own company, everything shifts. Suddenly, they become magnetic. This isn't just about love. Think back to the last time you got fully into a conversation, a project, or a challenge. While you were immersed in the moment, not stressing about the outcome, the work flowed, and your performance soared. Centuries ago, Montaigne was already pointing in this direction. Life favors those who loosen the reins. He noticed that people who handled surprises with humor and lightness moved through life more smoothly than those trying to control every wave. That kind of person didn't waste energy rewriting the script of everything that happened. And here's the paradox. The less you force it, the more doors open. The universe responds to alignment, not struggle. People who move through life without clinging make space for success, relationships, and opportunities to show up on their own. Swap the hunter mindset for the pull of a magnet, and watch how life starts coming to you. Montaigne had a subtle trick up his sleeve. Ease doesn't mean laziness. Letting go of the rope isn't giving up. It's a power move. Once you get that, you stop fighting the current and start riding the wave, saving energy and gaining a wider view. But if letting go brings clarity, strength, and even success, why is it so rare? Because the brain is wired to hunt for patterns, predict outcomes, and cling to the familiar, even if it hurts. It would rather take the sting of a bitter certainty than deal with the butterflies of the unknown. That's why so many people stay stuck in draining relationships, toxic environments, and habits that wear them down. It's not about lacking the will to change. It's the brain whispering, stay where it's safe. Montaigne saw the same thing back in the 16th century. people clinging to comforting beliefs while turning their backs on truths that could set them free. He reminded us that the deepest suffering often comes from stubborn resistance to what already is. But when you fully embrace the unknown, the whole game board shifts. Uncertainty stops being the villain and becomes your training ground. A wide open space to experiment, reroute, and keep moving forward. Light and ready for the next wave. Take a look at the people who changed the course of history. Artists, entrepreneurs, inventors. The thing they all had in common wasn't total control, but the ability to pivot when the ground shifted. Rigid control suffocates. Adaptability fuels growth. Leonardo da Vinci is proof of that. He never stuck to just one goal. He followed his curiosity wherever it led, through painting, anatomy, engineering, even sketching machines that looked like science fiction. If he'd focused on just one painting, would we still be talking about him today? You see the same thing in the financial world. The top investors don't panic when markets crash. They see the drop as part of the cycle, not a disaster. While most people sell out of fear, they hold steady. They've already accepted that control is mostly an illusion. The takeaway's simple. The less tightly you cling to the plan, the more room you create for opportunity. Flexibility beats rigidity, every time. Take a closer look at your daily routine. Where are you still leaning on a certainty that doesn't really make sense anymore? Maybe it's a story you keep telling yourself, a mask that feels safe, or a project that lost its spark but is still standing just because it's written down somewhere. Montaigne warned, "A man who fears suffering is already suffering from what he fears." It's not the facts that scare us. It's the thought of losing the control we think we have. But when you let go of the demand for a specific outcome, something shifts. Knee-jerk reactions make room for intentional responses. Instead of chasing, you start attracting. Instead of resisting, you adapt. Life stops being a battlefield and becomes a space for co-creation. Montaigne wasn't all theory. He was about a practical way of living. Move through the world without carrying extra tension. Skip the inner battles that drain you. Certainty is the illusion. Flexibility isn't. The more you lean into that, the more freedom you find. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to control everything, things start falling into place. It's not some mystical reward. It's just your mind finally working with you, not against you. When tension goes up, performance drops. And that's true in every part of life. A speaker who's focused on not messing up freezes on stage. An athlete obsessed with winning chokes when it matters most. In a relationship, the more someone tries to hold on to the other person, the more likely they are to push them away. It's always the same cycle. Grip too tightly, and you break the very thing you were trying to protect. Loosen the hold and things fall into place on their own. Michel de Montaigne understood this internal game better than most. He saw that most people live in the shadow of loss, failure, judgment, and the unknown, without realizing that fear itself is the real obstacle. Think about the times you let that armor go. Your words came easily, your ideas just flowed. And oddly enough, the thing you thought you didn't need anymore found its way back to you. That's the key. Letting go of control so the best version of you can actually show up. You know why letting go of control feels so hard? Because from a young age, we're told that safety lives in detailed plans, strict schedules, and predictable paths. Uncertainty, they say, is a threat. Letting go, that's carelessness. But take a closer look at the people who really thrive. They're not busy trying to arrange every piece of life just right. They make room for the unexpected. They trust their ability to respond. And they know the difference between discipline and rigidity, between structure and a cage. Stress doesn't come from the facts themselves. It comes from fighting them. It's that constant tug of war between what is and what we wish it were. That voice in our head saying, "This isn't supposed to be happening." But it is. When we swap out fear for curiosity, uncertainty gets a new name: opportunity. We stop fighting life and start playing with it. We create, we shift course, we grow without losing who we are. And the moment we stop forcing reality into a tight mold, we finally get to live it fully. And somehow, everything starts falling into place. Now I want to hear from you. What part of your life changed when you let go of the rope? Drop it in the comments. And if you're into content that helps expand your perspective, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next.